In this episode of the Orange Nerd Show, we're talking all about Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2, their box office prospects. We're talking about that Club 33 movie. We're talking Marvel animation. We're talking Daddy Josh. We have a lot to discuss today. I got Mr. Seymour Duck. I got Tonez and the Italiano with me today on this episode of the Orange Nerd Show. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of the Orange Nerd Show. Before we dive into our topics at hand today, I want to introduce my fantastic panel. We got a freshly shaven George the Italiano. Look at you, George, looking smooth. How you doing?
Got smooth, but I still got that 5 o'clock shadow going. I can never get rid of the 5 o'clock shadow, and I just pretty much said, you know what? It just became my signature look. So,
so what time did you shave this morning? Or was it this morning or before the show?
It was like early afternoon.
Okay, and
my time. So you're probably looking at maybe about like 6 hours ago.
And you already have some stubble coming back, bro.
It's already there.
Look at that. Look at that. So, Italiano, if you could let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And, of course, you can find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There he is. There he is. And down below, we got Mr. Seymour Duck. Seymour, it's good to have you back on, brother.
Glad to be here and nerd out on Disney. With you guys.
Absolutely. If you could let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck.
There he is, Seymour Duck. Follow him on X. I will be linking all the information for Seymour and Tonez, Poppy down below in the description. So make sure you follow both of these gentlemen. Tonez, welcome back, brother.
Appreciate you for having me. I love being here, talking Marvel. Love talking movies in general. I'm excited for this one, for real.
Yeah, absolutely. If you let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, Tonez.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Tonez_TV on all platforms. Follow my YouTube, Bad Thought Studios. We talk about movies, TV shows. We do trailer reactions. We get hated on by big communities. So if you guys are interested in that, Bad Thought Studios. And join the podcast that Camper and I do, Bad Thoughts Podcast, on YouTube and Spotify.
Yep, absolutely. And you said you get hated on. You know what, Tonez? If you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. So the fact that you guys are getting haters now, man.
Love it.
And everyone, honestly, like, subscribe the channel. Let's get this guy monetized so that way he could start charging you to start criticizing him.
Exactly.
There you go.
Almost there.
Exactly. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. Our first topic at hand. We're talking box office. We're going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2. So the first on the books is Deadpool and Wolverine is Fandango's best first day seller of 2024. It says here, online movie ticketing service Fandango announced today that Marvel Studios' upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine has broken Fandango's record for best first day ticket sales of 2024. The film is also the best first day pre-seller from the Deadpool franchise as a whole. That's interesting. Surpassing the first day ticket sales of Deadpool and Deadpool 2. Seymour, I'm going to start with you, brother. What are your thoughts on this, dude? This seems like it's kind of going to be a hit. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm actually surprised because this is a rated R movie, and usually those don't do as good as like the PG movies. And they're saying this is like the best first day ticket seller for a rated R movie. That's impressive. I think this movie is a pivotal point for Marvel and Disney, where quality is going to be back. So this is great to see, because if everyone is going to see this movie and see the quality that Disney can bring back for Marvel, then the audience can come back and see those movies again.
Yeah, well said, Seymour. And I think you're right. I think it is a pivotal moment, bringing that quality back. I also think that and we've talked about it, Tonez and George, I think on a few of these Orange Nerd shows, I think on your channel, Tonez, where the fact that Deadpool is sort of doing this fourth wall thing and they're making fun of the MCU and making fun of maybe the last few years not being the greatest and things like that. I think it's sort of it kind of releases some of the pressure a little bit, where it's like they're acknowledging, okay, we had a rough few years, this is like the perfect movie to sort of do what Seymour was saying, that reset. You know what I'm saying? We're going to acknowledge the last few years. We're not the greatest, but here's a great movie for you. And going forward, this is going to be what we're doing. The better quality, better stuff, you know, the old Marvel that you guys used to love, you know. What do you think, Tones, about this box office? Are you surprised at all, or not
No,
really?
not surprised whatsoever. I mean, this is something we've been looking for since the announcement was made about Deadpool, and then when we found out Wolverine was going to be in there, we knew it was going to be a hit. Also, I don't think when it comes to Deadpool, the rated R stamp that's on it is a huge deal because we know what comes with Deadpool. So the pre-sales isn't really that. It's not really that surprising to me because it's Deadpool. Now, if they were to put like freaking She-Hulk or something, like, you know, something that was like not shouldn't be rated R, like now if they were to put that rated R and they got sales like this, I mean, before we knew what She-Hulk was, but that would have been surprising. But we know what Deadpool comes with. We know his humor, his you know, the blood and the swearing that comes with him. This was inherited by something else. So yeah. I'm excited for this. I think this was a huge step for Marvel and getting that notoriety that they are going to make Deadpool who we think he is, who we know who he is. So not surprised whatsoever.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, the rated R thing is kind of a hindrance, though, just because it's like it does lessen the pool of people you can pull from, right? So yeah. if you have like this 4-quadrant movie like that everyone can see, it's unlimited, you know, basically anyone can watch it. This one is limited because it is R, but like you said, though, Tones, like to your point too, it's also like Deadpool. So the first 2 movies did very well, you know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this one should do pretty well. George, what are your thoughts on this, brother? What do you think? Surprised, not surprised?
No, definitely not surprised at all. Everyone was anticipating on Deadpool 3, and as Tones had pointed out, once they added Wolverine into the equation, that just blew up, you know, the whole notion even further. And I feel like that was very smart on Marvel's behalf because they chose the character that essentially we all thought that we would never see again after Logan. Yeah. Spoiler alert, people. But also coming back in the traditional X-Men uniform. And I feel that this is the pinnacle moment that Marvel needs in its most vulnerability, that because they had hit after hit, you know, with the Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame, and you know, they hit kind of a little bit of a slump, you know, and I feel like this is going to be the start of a whole new generation of Marvel films. Now, speaking to the rated R notion about like it does hinder as far as the amount of demographics that can go and see this in theaters. Yeah. As far as now, I'm not encouraging or discouraging parents to take them to go see Deadpool. You're the parents. You make that decision of what your children, you know, you feel like they should be watching or should not be watching. However, I do feel like in today's time, I feel like the tweens and the teenagers, honestly, kind of, it's not like back in the day where it was like, oh my gosh, you know, you see an ass on film and it's like, oh my gosh, cover your eyes sort of thing. Right. You know, I think kids today, they just have like a different.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Out of all things you say, an asshole on film. Not like a boob or like a.
Oh wow.
Good asshole. Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're good. But so I mean,
George, when you were younger, were you going back and forth between the channels trying to get that look in between the static, you know?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, I remember that because that was the pay-per-view days.
Right.
But I feel like kids, as like older kids, like tweens and teens, they kind of have that sense of notion where it's like that stuff doesn't bother them. And I feel like even parents, you know, they let them play video games that have just as much violence, just enough vulgar and language and stuff like that. So as I said, as a parent, if you know your children and you know that they like that kind of stuff and they can handle it, you know, you might have to have some conversations with certain scenes, especially from the first Deadpool. There's some scenes in there that you might have to have a little conversation with, but I still think it would appeal to pretty much whoever is a fan of Deadpool. And I also, too, and I still stick by it, and I know a lot of you are probably like not with me on this because it's a bit far-fetched, and I'm probably wrong. As I said, I'm still leaning towards that this could potentially be the first billion-dollar film in the U.S.
Just domestic.
Just domestic, because we have not yet hit that billion-dollar mark. I don't know. I think that there's a possibility. Now, I know a lot of people can say, well, if Endgame didn't hit it, how the hell is Deadpool and Wolverine going to hit it?
Yeah, well, and then it's not just that, but we're also living in a very different environment right now with streaming, and that does take a bigger piece out of the pie. Movies also aren't in theaters as long as they used to be pre-pandemic and stuff.
But
so
I think maybe that could be the latch to let that cross over $1 billion, because since there's not a lot of people who go to the movie going experience, because it just became an afterthought, really. It's more so that, oh yeah, we would go to a movie to see a chick flick or this and that. It's not like that anymore. But a movie like this, I think, can really get the butts in the seats. Now, as I said, I'll probably be eating crow on this, but I don't know. I'm just holding out on hope that we could possibly see it. Now,
you'll either bask in the glory. If this happens, you're either
if this happens, I'm running all the way to the bank on that shit. You know, like,
you're either going to eat the biggest bowl of crow, or you're going to have like the biggest victory dance of all time.
Absolutely. And I also too feel like that this is like the route of how the newer Spider-Man franchise went. You had Homecoming, you had Far From Home, which did very well at the box office, and then with No Way Home, that just like blew all expectations, because then you had Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield join Tom Holland and all three Spider-Men in one film on one screen. That's where I kind of feel like this Deadpool is kind of going. You had the first two films that did fairly well, but this one I think is just going to blow all expectations. Whether it crosses $1 billion or not, it's definitely going to do.
My question to you guys is what's the difference between Deadpool 2 and Deadpool, or this Deadpool, as far as making money? Like, wasn't Deadpool 2 also rated R?
Yeah.
It was. I think this one has more money making potential than Deadpool 2, because like what you were mentioning earlier, Tones, with the Wolverine factor.
But why would there be this notion that because it's rated R, it might not make a lot of money?
Not that it won't make a lot of money, because you're right. The first two made a lot of money, but when you're pulling from less potential customers, the earning potential is just less. So it might still make $1 billion worldwide, but it might have made 1.2 billion if it was a PG.
Yeah, you can't bring in your families to watch the movie. So you're excluding all the kids. They're coming in.
Oh, go ahead.
Unlike me, because me, I'd take a freaking 2-year-old.
There's just a correction I wanted to say first, though. I didn't realize it was for 2024. So yeah, I'm not surprised with these sales first day for this movie. I thought it was overall.
All time.
Yeah, all time. I misread. But yeah, 2024, yeah, I'm not surprised. The box office numbers haven't been stellar this year. Dune 2 is the best one right now. It's at 700 million. It hasn't been stellar, so I'm not surprised by Deadpool at all. People have been waiting for this type of movie for a long time.
Oh, yeah. And one other thing, I looked it up. Joker is the highest rated R film as far as like movies, from what I'm watching or looking at here. It made $1 million or $1 billion. So a movie like Joker getting that much money in theaters, I think Wolverine and Deadpool can do just as I'm not saying it could do better, but Joker was an amazing movie, but I think this could even do better.
Which I will also say too, what's also helping is the marketing and promoting of this film. They are so kicking ass on it.
Yeah.
Like they are doing like so well with how like they're like crossovers, like with commercials and with the preview with for the Super Bowl. I mean, like they just did everything right with this film. And even actually to Ryan Reynolds, who actually came out and made a statement and said that he appreciates Disney, but also at the same time was very shocked that Disney still kept the movie at rated R.
I think a lot of people were shocked, you know, and I do commend Disney, you know, for that, because look, I've said it many times, right? Like when people were getting on Bob Chapek, oh, he wants to do gambling on ESPN. And people and the Disney fans were like clutching their pearls, like, wow, oh, how could he do this? It's like, if you're going to own the biggest sports network, ESPN, right? You have to do right by sports fans. You can't, it would be doing sports fans dirty to be like, yeah, we own ESPN and we're going to Disneyfy ESPN. We're going to force Disney values on ESPN. If they're going to own a network like that, then they have to do what sports fans expect. Exactly. You know, so I think they absolutely did the right thing. And with Deadpool, they also showed that they absolutely did the right thing. So I think that we're good, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, Disney is evolving. It's becoming a bigger company that caters to everyone, and that's just the core Disney audience that was in the past. So you got your sports, and then you got your general entertainment, you got your mature audience, everyone. So like it goes back to Disney Plus, and in the movie theater, everyone, it caters to everyone.
And one thing I do want to say is to OG and George's credit, multiple times they said, yeah, Disney is buying these companies, but they don't want everything to be Disney-fied. They don't want everything to be, you know, because Disney bought it, we have to make it to where it's Disney. Like for sports, for instance, you guys said don't Disney-fy the ESPN, don't Disney-fy Deadpool, movies like Deadpool. You guys have been saying that for months, and I think that's the best way to go, for them to just let them, yeah, you guys bought it, but let it be where it was, why people loved it. So
there is one thing that I would love to see, just one smidge of Disney-fied with ESPN, is just to have
your whiteboard's coming out again, George.
Yeah, there it is. I'm still trying to remember what word I said. That or phrase I said some. I have to go back to one of our older shows because I've been saying some white boy shit lately. But I would love to see a segment just for a joke if they had a whole bunch of goofies come out on the field dressed in football uniforms where they do a live how to play football like cool. Like those old traditional goofy how-to cartoon shorts. That would be funny.
During the Super Bowl and stuff, they did the Nickelodeon thing where they had, you know, SpongeBob and Patrick pretty much commentating the Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
It was so cool. So they could do something similar to in that sense. That'd be cool for Disney.
It's funny because I don't watch sports, but I watch the Super Bowl because of SpongeBob.
That's awesome. Hey, Seymour, you and me, brother, we're the same, dude. I don't watch sports either, but I'll watch it if it, like back in the day, like when they were doing like the sequel trilogy and stuff, like the trailers for like The Force Awakens, Disney would throw those trailers like in the middle of like Monday Night Football. You know what I'm saying? And it was like having to chew through the box to get to the pizza, you know, it was terrible. but I did it. I sat through those things to get to that trailer, man. It was crazy. Now, Tonez, you got a little something for us.
Yeah, so this video has been leaked on Twitter, of course, of all places, right? Or X, excuse me. It's been leaked, and it's pretty much like a promo that they're putting in the previews before each movie or some movies. But I thought you guys would have a crack.
So this is public, but it's just like this is like just from in a theater, like someone recorded it.
Exactly. I'm assuming it's public. I mean, this is the only video that I've seen for it.
Well, if we wake up tomorrow, OG, and we're canceled, then we'll know why.
There we go.
I've seen like tons of videos on Twitter. So I mean, you can edit this part out if you want later, just in case. I want you guys to watch it though.
Yeah, let's check it out. I'm down.
It's coming from out there. Hey, Bob. You're in a movie theater, not the off room in your mom's nursing home. So turn your phone to silent, or I'll shove it so far up your. You'll answer it through your. No. Easy now. Easy now. So much testosterone. It's. God, when you yell like that, it makes my
vibrate.
Oh my god.
I think it's Listen, just turn your phones off or put them on silent. You know, whatever you prefer. I'm going to take his neck veins for a walk now. Enjoy the film.
Actually, I didn't get to watch it, but yeah, Tones, it was like posted all over the internet. They even had like articles and everything that people were just getting a kick out of that. And honestly, as I said, I have my degree in creative writing. I would kill if I could get onto that to write a script for Deadpool, because that deadpan, sarcastic, raunchy humor is like right up my alley. Like I can write literally probably a whole script within like 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely. And you got a lot of practice with being on the show too, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the next movie that we're going to discuss is another Disney movie. It's Disney Pixar's Inside Out 2, poised to be the highest opening of 2024. So they got Deadpool and Wolverine crushing it early. And they also have this Inside Out 2 with 80 to 85 million box office early look. This is from Anthony De Alessandro. Inside Out 2 came in tracking this morning, and sources are telling us it's bound to be the highest opening at the domestic box office year to date, inching out Dune Part 2. That's surprising to me. And Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Empire, with a 3-day between 80 to 85 million. Inside Out 2 opens over the Pixar tried and true Father's Day weekend of June 14th to 16th.
That is true, because the first Inside Out opened June 19th, 2015 on Father's Day. Right,
exactly. And it says here, that's a big comeback for Pixar in the post-COVID era, following the opening weekends of last summer's Elemental, 29 million, and 2022's Lightyear, 50 million. So this is huge. Seymour, like, what do you think about this, man? Is Pixar back? This seems like
I hope so, because I've been told numbers before and then they never came true. I really hope this is what's going to happen, because Disney needs a win on the animation side, and I'm hoping it's because the lack of quality and not just the people are not going to the movie theater anymore and just watching on Disney Plus, because that's what the trend has been going for them. And I'm hoping that this, we're going to talk about it later on about the layoffs. They're focusing on quality again for Pixar. And when you hear that name Pixar, you think of quality, right? Disney quality animation. So I'm hoping what's going to happen is people see this movie, they see Disney is back, and they see, okay, we're going to go back to the movie theaters now, because they see the quality, and it's a pivotal moment, just like the Marvel. They're bringing back that. It's almost like a reset, but it's not a reset in this movie. But it's almost like a reset for the people who are watching it, because they watch, a lot of the straight to streaming movies, which they were got the name for it.
Like Onward and Soul.
Soul and Turning Red, and they watch that straight to streaming, and you give you that like straight to DVD vibe, straight to VHS vibe. And if they can get that vibe where it's like, okay, Disney is back, we got the quality, and we're not going to make it for Disney Plus anymore. We're going to talk about that later on. Then it's a good pivoting point for Disney, and I'm hoping it's good, because Disney needs this win. Last year hasn't been really good for the animation for Disney, or even Marvel for that instance.
Yeah, absolutely, Seymour. Well said. Yeah, I mean, Pixar definitely needs a huge win right now in the box office. And that's the thing too, is like when you release a movie in theaters and it does well in theaters, then you move that successful movie onto Disney Plus, and now it hits hard on Disney Plus because people loved it in theaters. So it's a hit two ways, right? Whereas if you just throw it into the streaming service, it never gets that theatrical money, right? So if this does well in theaters, you're going to see it really bolster the Disney Plus stuff too. So it's a double win in a lot of ways, but it looks really cute. This little guy right here with the orange hair and stuff, or girl, I believe actually, Anxiety. Great character. They just showed us Nostalgia, which is like a little granny character. She's another emotion that's debuting in this film. So looks really cute. I don't know.
I will say, OG, I think honestly just how Eliminations kind of used me for my my college script for Migration. I don't know. I think they kind of used a little bit of some inspiration because Anxiety's hair, man. I don't know, that kind of has a little something. Something.
And I have anxiety too, so it's definitely on.
So
point
I think they're sport and look at the color of all things.
Orange.
It's orange.
Exactly.
I don't know, bro. I think we're.
Yeah, Pixar better send me that residual check. I tell you that much. You know what I'm saying?
So I got a couple questions here. Is the number they are anticipating? Is it just in the U.S. or is it just all over the world? What's the
North America?
Yeah, it's North America.
Also, what is this data from? Like, where are they getting this data for the numbers that they're anticipating? Is it sales or?
They use a bunch of data like pre-sale data. They also usually track like social media interests and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that correct,
like clicks and stuff, like based off like on the trailers and stuff?
But I never trust these numbers, unfortunately. One time they did a lot of these numbers last year and it never went.
Now, do they usually trend higher, Seymour? Like higher than what they usually do? Or does it go both ways?
It depends. Sometimes it goes higher. Sometimes last year Disney animation wasn't good. And every numbers they were supposed to hit, didn't hit.
Now, I will say for this particular movie, I'm going to stay optimistic and I hope that it hits about those numbers. Because I know the first Inside Out, it opened in the U.S. with about a little over $90 million opening weekend.
That's good.
So I kind of hope it is in that range. And I feel like this is very smart on Disney's part because a lot of people are complaining, why are they leaning more towards all these sequels? Well, because I feel like with everything that went on with the world, movie theaters took a hit, just animation in general took a hit. Disney has to get back into the good graces of the demographic, the crowds, the people.
Right.
I agree.
So how do you do that? Okay, you bring back familiar faces, characters that people enjoy and love, and that have had tremendous success in the box office. So that way they know no matter what, I mean, anything can go, but chances are Inside Out was a very successful film. It grossed over $350 million just in the US alone. So why not bring back a sequel? And just like with Zootopia, just like with Frozen, God help me, even with Toy Story, but I feel like Disney needs to, at this moment, to kind of get back the fans of animation. Right. And I feel like then once they get everybody back into their circle, then they could start bringing on the newer original material, which I have heard. I mean, it's just hearsay at the moment, but there are, I guess, working on a 2D animation. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a short or animated film. They didn't really say too much, but they said possibly something's in the works with it.
That would be awesome. Now, here's one thing I've seen not a lot of criticism, but I've seen some criticism like on X and what have you, that this movie has a character, because you mentioned anxiety, George, and this movie has a character called Anxiety, and that maybe isn't necessarily appropriate for younger kids and what have you. I have to respectfully disagree with that. I mean, I had my first panic attack when I was like 15. You know what I'm saying? Kids nowadays, like preteens going into your teens, you have anxiety and a lot of it at that age.
This is genius because it creates a self-awareness that, parents may not know or see in their kids. Because a lot of times when you look at your child, you say, okay, this is my sweet, adorable child. They're perfect in every way. No, I'm sorry. You may say, you're cute, is sweet and adorable, but sometimes you can say, hey, your child's fucked up. It's like, but it's like, but no, in all seriousness, that's just me being sarcastic, but it's, you don't know what a child is feeling. And a lot of kids don't know how to express themselves, especially to adults. It could be very awkward to to their parents and what have you. So this basically creates a self-awareness to say, okay, this is what can be going on the inner sides of a child. And yes, that as you hit a certain age, anxiety does come in.
Well,
embarrassment comes in.
Exactly, especially at that age of Riley at the time of this movie. Like I think she's like preteen, I believe. Yeah. I mean, look, if Walt Disney could kill Bambi's mother. Okay, I think kids today can handle an anxiety character. I think we'll be fine. But what do you think, Seymour? You think we'll be fine, or you think that maybe
You'll be fine? Yeah, it's just anxiety. I've seen like TV shows and movies from Disney that did a lot worse. I remember Boy Meets World. They talked about sex and drugs all the time. Nobody had an issue with that.
Great
Real
fucking
life learning experience.
I love
I
love that comparison.
The TGIF lineup was like one of the most perfect set of TV shows ever.
I do want to say something real quick before we move on. I don't like, even when it comes to movies that I like or that I've seen that I want to see again. I haven't seen Elemental. That's what movie this is, correct?
No, this is Inside Out.
Oh, Inside Out.
Too.
I haven't seen that movie, the first one, but I've seen and heard about it. I heard it was an amazing movie because it has those kind of characters. But
that's nice. Get Out.
All right, bye guys. I don't like when they come out and say we're anticipating this much money, because it almost seems like, okay, you're trying to get people to come watch it because they think it's going to make a lot of money. It's always been something that's kind of irritated me, but like, let me see what you guys come out with the trailer. Let me know who's involved in this movie, and I'll make my own judgment if I want to go see this movie. It's just always been, it's always irritating me.
Yeah. Well, and it works both ways. And I would agree with you, Tones. And it works both ways in that, like, sometimes it'll help a movie and sometimes it might hurt a movie. And what I mean by that is if like a genuinely good movie is tracking, their box office is tracking really low, a lot of people take that as like, oh, it must be bad, so we're not going to go see it. And it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy then. They were tracking low, so now people are avoiding it, so then it actually is low. You know, so it's an issue. It's not really the studio. The studio provides some information, but it's really like an industry thing that releases these numbers though, for the most part.
So really quick, could it also go the other way where they show these numbers and people can look at it and say, whoa, okay, so if this is the numbers that they're tracking, you know, quote unquote, that, oh, then this must be a good movie. I wasn't planning on seeing this, but now I actually show interest in seeing it. It can work.
It can cut both ways. Absolutely. I'm sorry, Seymour, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say last year, they didn't think Barbie was going to do that great. They didn't think Super Mario Brothers movie was going to do that great. And those two movies exceeded expectations. Those numbers didn't mean anything for me, at least. It's meaningless to me. At the end of the day, if I like the movie, I like the movie. And, you know, people will vote with their wallets, and then you'll see at the end with the box office numbers if the movie did well or not.
I agree with you, Seymour. Honestly, there's some movies that completely tanked at the box office, not recently, just in general, that I find I enjoy the movies. And it's right. At the end of the day, if I like a movie and I'm going to watch it, it doesn't matter how much the movie makes at the box office or not. If I like it, I like it. I'm going to watch it.
Well said. Yeah, no, I'm the same way. If I like a movie, I like a movie, regardless of how much money it makes. Well said. Well said. So news that came out just a few days ago, and this is really sad. I hate to see anyone lose their job, but Pixar layoffs are underway. About 175 jobs are being cut. It says here, Walt Disney Company-owned CGI animation studio Pixar is laying off about 14% of its staff as it cuts back on the number of streaming services, number of streaming series it produces. The layoffs, which will affect 175 employees, were signaled as far back as January. I remember that initial report. Reports then suggested the studio might cut up to 20% of its staff. However, a person familiar with the matter who was not authorized to comment said at the time that those estimates were too high. So here's the thing with the layoffs, right? I don't like to see anyone lose their job. Absolutely not. But here's the reality is that a lot of people have been criticizing Disney and Pixar for the budgets. The budgets are too big. They're bloated. They're crazy high. And this is why a lot of these Disney, not even just Disney and Pixar, but you're talking even Marvel, a lot of these movies are struggling to make their budgets back, you know, in the theaters because of these bloated budgets. So with this, it's like, okay, if we're all going to complain that the budgets are too high, well, how you have to cut somewhere. And unfortunately, it sucks. I hate to see anyone lose their job, but how else are you going to bring it down? What are you going to do? I mean, the other option would be to ship all this stuff overseas. That's pretty much what Illuminations does, you know. And I don't want that. I would rather have Pixar keep their studio here in the US, you know, you have to cut somewhere. But what do you think, George?
No, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, the layoffs for the division are, I believe that has to do with a lot of the like the direct to streaming
the streaming
projects
stuff.
that they were planning on doing. Now, it doesn't affect the one mini series that's still due to come out on Disney Plus. I forget what the name of it was.
Yeah, it was too far along, I believe. So
yeah, so I think that's the only one that's going to come out. All the other projects basically got canceled due to the fact. So again, I'm with you, OG. Like I hate to see anyone lose their jobs.
Yeah.
However, there are companies, and as you said, not even just Disney, that there are jobs that are available that these companies are paying these people that aren't necessarily, I hate to say it, needed, you know? So it's like, if you don't need it and it's not, you know, it's not going to be successful for the company, unfortunately, you're going to have to axe those positions. And I feel like, you know, a lot more could be put into the budget for the feature length animated features.
Yeah. What do you think, Tones?
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it the best. Like, no one wants to see these jobs get taken away from them, but it's almost like you have to choose quality over quantity in that sense, and then you have to choose what you want to put out, and is it worth keeping those particular jobs to put out this? You know, it's very unfortunate, but they have to start putting money somewhere else, and it looks like the jobs were the things that they had to cut. Now, when it comes to budgets and these ridiculous high budgets that come out, we wouldn't care if they put out something that was just gorgeous to watch, gorgeous to look at, just an amazing movie or show. But like, I can't even tell you the last Pixar movie or show that came out that was like talkable, like to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys probably watch more Pixar movies than me, but can you guys name a Pixar movie or TV show recently that came out that was just mind blowing?
Well, I really liked Elemental. I don't know. I mean, Elemental was a good movie. It was a really cute. It was a smaller film though. It felt like a smaller movie. It's not up there with like. It doesn't feel as grand as like the Cars franchise or even like the Toy Story stuff. But I really liked Elemental a lot. I think you would enjoy that one, Tones.
Yeah.
Elemental was really good. But yeah, I agree with OG. It didn't have like that same impact that when movies like WALL-E and Up and The Incredibles and Ratatouille came out, that it created a circular buzz of conversation. Yeah,
like you're right, Tones. Like there have been good movies lately, but like I like Luca too, you know, because I'm Italian. You know what I'm saying, George? But I like a lot of these. But the thing is that they didn't move the needle culturally. I think is what you're trying to say, right? They weren't like these cultural phenomenons like Super Mario was. So yeah, it was very different, you know.
I was also gonna say, we had brought up this a couple months ago, and it just came to my mind just now. It's very hard to distinguish the difference between Pixar movies and Disney animated movies on certain instances. Now, I can't remember what movie it was, but we were talking about it, and it was kind of hard to. We were talking about it, and you were saying, "Oh, this is definitely a Pixar movie," and then we looked back at it, and the Pixar wasn't even involved in it.
Now, yeah, it was. Well, I think we were talking about Zootopia and how much it looked like a Pixar movie.
Yes, there you go. It was Zootopia, and I think. I mean, I don't know which jobs were necessarily cut, but I think they're finding ways to take Pixar. I mean, they didn't want to cut Disney's jobs, but I think they're finding the same kind of production they could probably find within the house and use those jobs at Pixar. Possibly that could be a reason why they took so many jobs away.
Well, and one of the things too is that was one of my big criticisms of John Lasseter in his era when he was running both of these studios, was that you're right, Tones, a lot of stuff really kind of melded together. You couldn't really tell the difference between what was a Disney animation movie and what was a Pixar movie. And at that point, what's the point of having two studios if you're going to produce the same kind of content? You know, they should have distinct personalities, both of these studios. And I think they are moving now in a better direction. We're starting to see a little more of a distinction. But there was a while there, and look, I'm not I'm not downplaying John Lasseter's genius or what he did for the studio. I mean, he did incredible things for both Disney and Pixar. But one of my big criticisms was that homogenization of these two studios where everything felt the same. And then you look at a movie like Brave, and that could easily be a Disney animation movie. And it was, but it was a Pixar movie. And it just felt everything was like sort of becoming one thing. And I think they are finally moving in a direction again where the studios feel separate. And I think that's very important. What do you think, Seymour, in terms of these Pixar layouts? What do you think it all means?
At first, when I heard about this, I'm like, couldn't Bob Iger take a pay cut? Could some of the executives take a pay cut instead of these jobs being taken away? Right? Because you know, I'm a big fan of Nintendo, and they did that when the things weren't doing well. And I look at it and I'm like, it can't, because they're cutting off the fat basically and getting a nice lean studio. They're not focusing on Disney Plus anymore. Cars on the Road, Monsters at Work, Doug Days, and the last one that's going to come out, Win or Lose.
That's right? What it's called, Win or Lose. Yeah.
You don't, when it goes, like I mentioned before, when it goes straight to streaming, you don't get that like quality. You don't think it's quality because it's straight to streaming. It's like, oh, it's a streaming show. Okay. When you think of Pixar, you're supposed to think of something really good quality. So they're cutting out the fat and focusing only on the movies so that they can produce high quality movies. And for that to work, you need to cut the fat. And that's why you're laying off all these employees. That's the unfortunate part. But it's another pivotal point for them because they need to bring back that Pixar magic that they had before. Inside Out 2, hopefully that will bring it back in. And they don't produce things on Disney Plus that doesn't make them money because it's expensive. Unfortunately, it's expensive to produce animation like Pixar, and to put it on Disney Plus, it costs a lot of money. And because of that, you have budget restraints and the quality goes down because of that. And you don't want that. You want to know Pixar as that prime Disney quality animation that you know.
Well said.
And, yeah.
Now, will Pixar still produce like the Pixar shorts that get released at the beginning of each feature? Because I know Pixar was always known for that. Every time you'd get a new feature film, you would always get a new Pixar short that plays right before the film.
I haven't heard anything about that. I'll have to look into it more, but I don't think those are getting cut. And I think actually both Disney and Pixar use those shorts as kind of like research and development with different various kind of dabbling in different technologies and different styles and what have you, and to see if what works and what doesn't. They use those shorts for a lot of experimental stuff. So it is kind of integral and important, even for the theatrical, that the shorts stay around. Hopefully that's not what's being cut here. I think it's just for the streaming service stuff.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, because if you look at Marvel and you look at some of the, I'm sure we're going to talk about it, the television side of Marvel soon enough.
Nice segue.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you look at some of these streaming shows that you saw, like She-Hulk, the quality was terrible. It was shit. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was awful, and because of the budget restraints, and that's what you're gonna get with Pixar. You don't want that to happen, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen with Marvel, and I'm hoping they're moving more towards general entertainment style of Marvel, so that it's cheaper budget. Daredevil is a perfect example because Daredevil doesn't take a lot of CGI, and it doesn't take a lot of money to produce high quality general entertainment that's involving Daredevil, compared to like a Pixar movie or like a She-Hulk, where they spent so much money just on the CGI and not on the story itself. And I'm hoping this is just a pivotal moment for Disney to cut all that fat out.
Yeah.
See, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry, George. I know you were ready to go off on someone, but let me say this real quick. We've talked about this plenty of times as far as like budget and high budgets, low budgets. There has to come to a point where we say, okay, the budget's this, but how come the quality is so bad, or how come the storyline is so bad? How come the production and the directors didn't do their jobs? Like Dune 2 was probably one of the best sequels I've seen in a while, maybe ever, and it only had $190 million budget, which is of course high to us, but it's not that high to a lot of these fucking high budget movies like Marvel movies and etc. But they put a lot of effort and time into a great storyline. The actors actually wanted to be there, and it was cool that they took a pay cut. Like, they didn't care what they made to there's a point where of course you want a good amount of money, but there's a point where, like, hey, we're gonna make a lot of money on this movie. You can get pay this much, but you'll get residuals or whatever the case may be. But there's a point where we need to just, the writers or whoever's making these movies need accountability as well, because there's the excuse of high budgets. If you're having that high of a budget, you should have a movie that's talked about for generations.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Or decades. Like,
oh, absolutely, Tones. I mean, it's not. Yeah, you're right, Tones. It's not even just about the number. It's about how the money is being allocated and used. There's obviously a lot of waste and stuff like that going on. When you have a production like She-Hulk that costs that much and looks like that, okay.
And with She-Hulk, I think there was 2 episodes they were supposed to produce that was missing it, and that's why the storyline was so messed up. And they didn't have enough money for it, so they had to cut and paste the last episode and then move the second last episode to the first one. Yeah, it was a mess. COVID issues too, so the budgets went a little bit high. Yeah, and then they hired Rick and Morty writers. I don't know.
What say you, George?
I was just going to say, I absolutely love it. It's a real treat when we get to hear Seymour curse, because I just love it. He just goes straight up Mallard. Like, I love
awesome. I love it too.
But no, I definitely agree. I feel like a lot of these projects get overcompensated with these budgets, and then when we get it, it's as Seymour said, it's a piece of shit. It's like it's like, I don't understand where you can have a budget of $250 million and then you could have a budget of $85 million, and the $85 million budget looks much better than the $250 million. It's like, where is all this money going?
Well, look at that Godzilla movie. Was it Godzilla minus one? Minus one, yeah. That's right. Godzilla -1. I mean, that movie was like on a shoestring budget, and I heard it's incredible. You saw it, Tones, right?
No, not the -1. I saw the new Kong Empire, or the Godzilla and Kong movie.
Okay, yeah, I heard that Godzilla -1 was absolutely insanely good, and it was like, it had like no budget. It's like, you can do this stuff, and it's how it's allocated, and used.
Can I throw out a budget that was used for I guess you consider a Disney movie, but it's not Disney.
Sure.
Fast X, or the Fast and Furious 10 or whatever it is.
Okay, yeah, that's Universal.
Yeah, Universal. Okay.
Yeah.
Just take a guess on how much that movie was. The budget was for that movie.
Oh man, I know it was really hot.
I think I already know, but yeah.
Go ahead, Seymour.
I think it's like around $350 million. I remember the budget being very high because they paid all the actors. It was just
fucking stupid. Like, it was 340, so you were on the money. But like, who talks about that?
No. It was $340 million. That was just for Vin Diesel's donut scene.
I know, right?
Right.
Fuck.
I don't know that movie.
I mean, what the I would go into that movie and question everything about it, because it looks like a fucking superhero movie, flying cars and shit. It's so weird. Anyway, but a movie like that, having a budget for $340 million should be talked about for years, dude. Like,
yeah,
that's way too much for a budget.
Well, it's ridiculous. They packed that movie with way too many like heavy hitting stars, and it bloated the budget. And it's about the movie. These movies are about cars and racing. And it used to be.
And it's also too, where it lost me. I forget what movie it was, because they made so many of them. It's ridiculous. It's the one where literally the car basically flies out of the window of a building, across in slow motion, and then enters in through the window of another building. I mean, I forget which one, but that was just like completely, utterly ridiculous. But
that's actually just my sister driving. Yeah.
Or the car's Bumblebee, dude. One of the two, dude.
But it's also too that when you have these big, hard-hitting actors, when you have a successful franchise as the Fast and the Furious movies, as you keep on making them, it makes the actors more expensive, because in order to make it, it's the high demand where their agents and their lawyers are saying, you know what, you know, they want you for Fast and Furious 898. You know, it's like, so you got to get a bigger amount, you know, especially because the money that these actors get paid, it just doesn't go to them. It goes to their attorneys. It goes to their accountants. It goes, like, all that money has to be dispersed, you know, their agents and everything. So it's like they encourage these actors to fight for a bigger paycheck because at the end of the day, it makes them have a bigger paycheck.
Right, exactly.
And they deserve it. Like, they don't even know, they deserve.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this right now because you just said the statement, Tones, and I'm going to get this out of here right now. I'm sorry, and I'm probably going to get heat for this, and this even goes to sports players. I don't necessarily feel that a person throwing around pigskin filled with air,
no,
you should get paid, should not be having a $25 million contract deal with a sports team. I'm sorry, but yet our country is saying that we don't have nothing in our budget to take care of the homeless, to take care of poverty, to take care of starvation with children, but we can afford to pay these people. I'm sorry, yes, they are jobs and everything. No, I'm just saying, I'm just saying just overall. I'm just saying overall. I think, honestly, no job is worth the fact of paying that amount of money to somebody when it could be going for other stuff.
All right, real quick, Candid. Let me say something real quick. So I would agree with you if it was coming out of our fucking tax-paying money. I 100% agree with you. But we have, like, this is all funded by owners and fans. They're getting that money because they're getting TV views and merchandise views, and that, like, they have to be making that kind of money. And if I'm getting fucking tackled 10, 15 times a game, I better be making fucking $25 million. That's for damn sure.
No, I'm sorry. That to me is not where I'm sorry.
But that's why it's a sport that people want to play, is because they know that it could set their family up for years. But
well, yeah. You bring up a great point, Tones, too, because football is $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
So when it's bringing in that kind of money, the people that are involved in the game, their price tag goes up.
And not just
it does. Yeah, that's just part of the reality. But I'm just saying, is that right? Obviously not. And then you have these celebrities that stand in front of a camera that say, "Oh, well, for just 10 cents a day, you can help this." You write a check. One check from your bank account can probably feed an entire country. It's like, don't come for me that's working a regular 9-to-5 job. You write the check.
Right. What say you, Tones?
No, I agree that they do make a lot of money, but it's warranted because it's not coming out of taxpayers' money. And the one thing that you also got to remember is a lot of these communities that surround these big, Dallas Cowboys or the Raiders or the 49ers, whatever the case may be, a lot of these ownerships and are helping the community around the or in the state too as well. They're helping fund a lot of stuff in that area in the city. So these big companies that or these big teams that are paying their players this much money, I would say I would agree with you if it came out of our paychecks, but these owners,
I'm not talking about if it's coming out of my paycheck. I'm just saying that no job in general, I'm sorry, is worth a $25 million contract. That's just me. I'm just saying, for me, honestly, no. The people I take that back. The people who actually do deserve the $25 million things are honestly first-hand responders, firefighters. Military. There's people that come out of the military that they don't get nothing. And for me, I'm sorry, as I said, should they get paid? Absolutely. It's still a job. But I'm sorry, there's so much more money that could be going for better and good things than for, I'm sorry, a hobby. I'm sorry, it is what it is. But that's just me. Everyone can have something completely different. But no matter what anybody would say to me, I've thought that way for years, and I will always think of it as that.
Yeah,
I love you, George, but I 100% disagree with you.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one, and yeah, I don't think it's a lot of money. But here's why I stand on it. It's a lot of money. You're right. It is a lot of money. But when you're okay, for example, you're talking about Robert Downey Jr., right? I mean, this guy, he's in a movie. He's in Endgame and all these. It's like he brings in so much money, so that's why his price tag is higher. It would be, I think, kind of unfair to have this guy who's a big selling point to these billion-dollar franchises, and then pay him only $3 million. I think that's kind of like an injustice, in my opinion. And same with the football stuff, right? I don't care about football. I don't watch. Well,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like that even like how we were just talking about right now, that we're saying budgets are so highly above. Oh, this movie takes $250 million to make. That price tag has to come down. I think, honestly, it should be adjusted of inflation of like what is considered as being less and high. So, yeah, so right now, $3 million to pay an actor, yeah, that's like pennies compared to what they actually are paying them. But I feel like if it would be adjusted to a sweet spot sort of thing, then it would be like but that's never going to be, because honestly, the way the world is today, prices are just going to keep going up, So it's like, it is. And as I said, it is what it is. I just don't agree with it. I feel like whether it comes out of our paychecks for tax money or whatever, I just feel like money in general, that I'm sorry, I would pay $25 million to a veteran or a military person or a firefighter over a football or a baseball player.
Yeah, no, that's understood. Yeah.
I remember I was getting a backlash on this for talking about Margaret Robbie, how she got paid $50 million for Barbie, and during the strike, people were saying that Bob Iger should reduce his pay, and I said okay, but that's only like around $30 million. That's not enough for all the actors to get paid fairly. How about the big actors like Margaret Robbie, who's getting paid $50 million to reduce it? And they all started to attack me on X, saying, oh, she deserved that money. I'm like, okay, so then why didn't Bob Iger deserve that $30 million? What? He's the CEO of Disney, and he doesn't deserve that? And then I got more backlash, and I'm like, look, these actors, if you look at the Oppenheimer movie, right? These actors Robert Downey Jr. took a pay cut just to be in that movie because he knew that movie was good enough. He knew he wanted to be in it, the quality. He knew the director and everything coming in that movie. He knew it was going to be good for him and good for, for everyone to watch. And it was a huge success. But Margot Robbie getting paid, actually, I'm seeing now it's $59 million. But yes, that's a lot of money.
Angel of mercy. If I knew that it would take for me to get that amount of money to sport some pink high heels, I would have done that years ago.
And the thing is, all these other actors are not getting that money. They already got paid up front, and that's the unfortunate part. Like, these are back payments because the movie was so successful, and yet, the budgets were high, and yet you're paying her and you're not paying everyone else. That seems kind of, it's like in the middle. But then I'm like, yeah, but Bob Iger, but yeah, I was getting a lot of backlash for that.
Like, Bob Iger runs basically like Disney's like another country at this point. Like, you're running another country, and he's getting what, 30 million. And I understand he's got like these the stock and all that stuff. He's at, so actually ends up being a lot more, but still his compensation, like you said, Seymour, is only 30 million a year.
And to be fair, he only actually gets paid in cash 1 million. Everything else is actually stock options, and that's invested over time. So he's not able to cash out immediately. Damn. And the company has to do well in order for the stock to go up. So yeah, there's a lot of
good and well he's putting as much effort as he can to fucking raise that stock. So
that's wild. I did not know, Seymour, that Margot Robbie got what, $50+ million for that Barbie movie.
Yeah, because I think she was also a producer as well. But I mean, her and Ryan, they got paid well for that movie. That's wild. And apparently, like, all the actors got paid well, like, under her, too. And then all the other actors, no. The writers, no. They didn't get paid well. And I'm like, well, if all these big star actors just cut their pay, everyone else could have paid.
That's what I'm saying. That, to me, that's where it's like, I'm sorry, when is too much going to be enough? It's like, and then because she got paid that high end amount for Barbie, okay, so then when she does, I'm for sure they're probably going to do a Barbie sequel, and I think she's already talking about producing, I think, a movie version of The Sims. It's like, okay, well, I got over $50+ million for the first Barbie, so now I better get $150 million for the. It's like, when is enough enough? It's like, I mean, come on, I could honestly, I could rant about. We might have to do like a show about this where I could rant about this shit all day because my mouth will run.
I had no idea. This is George's passion. I had no idea. We'll do a show. We'll go like 3 hours, George. We'll just go like 3 hours and let it all out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but we do have one more. We have a couple more stories left. This is from Variety. Why Marvel is rebranding its television shows to eliminate the pressure to watch absolutely everything. This is interesting. So when Agatha All Along premieres on Disney Plus in September, the series will not open with the traditional Marvel Studios logo, as it has been the case with almost every previous series from the Kevin Feige-led division since WandaVision premiered in 2021. Instead, the company is rebranding its streaming efforts as Marvel Television for live action series and Marvel Animation for its animated shows, which launched with the just concluded first season of X-Men 97. The rebrands are meant to help Marvel disabuse audiences from the pervasive impression that its content is one unified narrative experience that must be consumed in its totality. This is a smart move because I think the MCU got so big. So when Marvel started releasing stuff on Disney Plus, and if people were behind, oh, I didn't watch WandaVision, I can't go see the new Spider-Man movie yet. I got to watch Wanda first to catch up with this one and that one. It actually de-incentivized a lot of people to go to the theater because, well, I got to catch up first. I think what this does is it creates kind of like these offshoots, kind of, and it's not as of daunting of a task, for the normie or someone who just wants to see, a good X-Men movie or something like that, or X-Men show. It's not as daunting because they don't feel like they have to watch, three Disney Plus shows and 2 other theatrical movies that came out prior to even know what's going on. So it's a smart move, and it's funny to me too, and it's kind of ironic how the cinematic universe was it was kind of the golden goose for Marvel. It was kind of like, wow, this is what's like the crux of why it's so successful. And now it's kind of like become a liability in a lot of ways, which is kind of interesting. But what are your thoughts on this, Tones, about them kind of separating this stuff so it's not as overwhelming for the viewer to be like, oh my God, I got to catch up and all that stuff?
That was the reason why Marvel is where it's at now, is because, yeah, the demand was high for Marvel movies. I should say some Marvel movies. I think they overdid it, in my opinion, when it came to, characters and origin stories that they eventually put out. But that was the moral of it. People were confused. If I have to watch this movie to watch this movie, will I get this movie? Like, that was the huge thing. So yeah, what they're doing is perfect. That should have been done years ago. The one thing I will say is it sucks that it had to come to this, because of how much confusion there was within the MCU. Now, we are getting the Agatha show, but we're not getting the normal Marvel Studios in the beginning. That we're getting the Marvel Television. Now, will Agatha be, because Agatha was essentially part of the MCU because it was with WandaVision. WandaVision's part of the MCU. Now, is this part of the MCU now? Like, will anything in the Marvel Television be part of the storyline?
It seems like it's gonna be a loose, maybe like I don't know if you ever saw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
and it was like they would reference the Avengers and stuff like that, but it wasn't like really fully connected. So you can watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and not really watch the Avengers movies, and you would still understand the series. Yeah, I think that's the route they're going with Agatha.
That reminds me of the Daredevil and the Jessica and all those shows where it was technically connected and they referenced the Hulk and Iron Man, but it was completely different storyline. And you can see that Daredevil is going to be one of these TV shows on Disney Plus, and I'm all for it because I don't want to be connected. Daredevil was really good just on its own, and I'm hoping that you get better stories because it's not so connected with the MCU. And it can grow on its own, so that if you're a fan of Daredevil, you'll be a fan of just the Daredevil, and you don't have to be a fan of anything else around it.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think, George? Do you like this idea, or do you think it's sort of,
I think honestly it's a smart move, even though, as Tones had mentioned, I think it's a shame that we just had to come to this point that they have to kind of rebrand everything and kind of say, okay, this is going to be Marvel Animation, this is going to be Marvel Television, this is going to be Marvel Studios. It's like it should just be cohesive, where it's under one banner, and you don't have to necessarily, watch every nook and cranny of a movie or a show to see how like they're all kind of intertwined. But that's how Marvel kind of base their franchises. And I think honestly now this is really the only way that they can kind of get out of that funk, so to speak. With Agatha, I do agree. I feel like that they can still reference maybe happenings that occurred in WandaVision, or that are part of the MCU, but this is basically where you didn't maybe necessarily have to watch WandaVision in order to watch Agatha.
Yeah.
And
real quick, I do think if making this, they should stick to it and don't referencing is fine, but they shouldn't go to the point where they make a whole new origin story on some character. They put it in Marvel Television, and then they end up having like a cameo in a Marvel movie or a Marvel show where it's not in the Marvel I think they should keep it in its under the Marvel Television banner and don't take it out, because I think that's what's gonna eventually mess it up if they do.
Right. Either do it or don't. Right.
Exactly.
Either you're in it or you're not. Well said, Tones. I completely agree with you.
And last thing I just wanted to say, they're focusing on quality. They said they're only going to do 2 Disney Plus series for Marvel a year now. Bob Iger came out and said that. So I think that's
Marvel
good.
Television though. Not Marvel Television, just Marvel, right?
No, the Marvel Television, the rebranding. They're only going to do 2 series a year.
Yeah.
For that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're focused. They're cutting the fat. They're cutting everything up, all the fat on all of the company,
Good.
and including Marvel Television. So you're only going to get 2, and I think that's good, because all the other shows, it was overwhelming, too much homework, and people needed to focus on MCU, Disney Plus, and all this. No, I wanted its own thing. If it can bring me back that magic on Netflix when I watched Daredevil, and even though it wasn't connected, and I still liked it, that's what I want when I watch these Disney Plus series.
Yeah, well said. And you said it perfectly. I was trying to think of the word, Seymour, but too much homework. That's exactly what it was with the MCU. It became too much homework for a lot of people. And I'm a big Marvel guy. I was up to date on all the Marvel stuff. I think pretty much once we hit like what was that, Tones? Help me out. What was that show on was it Secret Invasion? Yeah. Secret Invasion. Once we hit Secret Invasion, I stopped. And now I'm totally like behind on everything. But it's like, even a big Marvel fan like myself, I'm like, I kind of gave up too. So imagine what the normies who are not as invested or what they're going through, they gave up a long time ago. So This is a smart move. Absolutely.
Yeah, don't remind me of that show. They paid Samuel L. Jackson all the money for that budget.
There you go. Uh-oh, George. Did it? Yep. Uh-oh.
Oh, that was funny.
And our next topic, this is from the Hollywood Reporter. Disney's Club 33 getting a movie treatment from the Goosebumps writer Darren Lemke, Sean Levy's 21 Laps. So Disneyland's private dining club is located near the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, which helped launch the theme parks to screen pipeline in the early 2000s. So it says here, a private Disney club is going public, like big screen public. Club 33, the exclusive dining club inside Disneyland, is getting the movie treatment. It says here, Darren Lemke, who has worked on such family films like Goosebumps, starring Jack Black and Shazam, has been tapped to pen the script set in a fantastical world about the club. And it says here, the project is said to exude the tone and vibes of Clue and Night at the Museum, Levi's own fantasy adventure trilogy set in a museum and featuring exhibits, historical figures that come to life. So this is interesting. Like, okay, look, I'm not usually into these like park things that go into the, become movies, right? Like sometimes it works. I think Pirates of the Caribbean worked because Pirates is kind of a evergreen kind of thing that, it's like dinosaurs, okay? Like pirates and dinosaurs, you always love them, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of what it is. But a lot of times it doesn't work, right? I think this is actually a really clever idea. I've been to Club 33. George, you have two, actually, right? Yes. And it's got a lot of like lore in and of itself, sort of, right, within like the theme park world. But I think what the direction they're going in with this is actually really smart. Like this kind of murder mystery, like in the same vein as Clue. And
can you read that last part of what it's going to be about?
Yeah, it says here, for Club 33, the story centers on a young, inspiring detective who receives a mysterious invite to the highly secretive Club 33. In this case, it's a magical and exclusive dining club whose members are the greatest and most iconic figures from across history. When a murder is committed on the premises, the patrons look to the young detective to solve it.
I do hope that they kind of give it a little bit of that edge like they gave the pirate movies. Like, I don't want them to kind of sugarcoat this, because honestly, this could actually work out really well. If they do it right, if they play their cards right, this could be a phenomenal, not even just a film, but this may even set the stage for the that secret society, the adventure, whatever it's supposed to be. What is it? The
Society of Adventures and Explorers and Adventures.
Yeah. So I wonder, like, if that can kind of set like a kind of a tone up, so to speak. But yeah, if Disney plays their cards right, this could actually be very successful.
Like I loved, and I know a lot of anti-woke people will probably get mad at me for saying this, but I did love Glass Onion. I thought that was a phenomenal movie.
Was it good?
Oh, so good.
Yeah, the third one is coming out soon.
Oh, did you like the first two, Seymour?
Yeah, I liked it. The second wasn't as good as the first, but it was a Netflix movie.
Yeah, it was fun. And if this Club 33 movie sort of exudes a little bit of that energy, I'll be totally satisfied.
I want like a Sherlock Holmes kind of vibe to it too. I think that'd be fun. Yeah. The whole like this storyline is something I've always been really intrigued in, like this murder mystery kind of factor to it, especially in a Club 33 kind of vibe where I didn't know what it was until, Candid and you guys educated me on what it was. And I think it's perfect. I think if they had to do it anyway and kind of introduce what Club 33 is, why not do it with a murder mystery, dude? That's amazing.
I want to see nitty gritty. Like, I want to see like throat slit. I want to see blood gushing on the table, running into the baked salmon.
You got the guy from Goosebumps.
I know, right?
Doing this.
Oh wait! I'm sorry. It's not Quentin Tarantino.
No.
Almost.
What about you, Seymour? I don't know. I mean, I know you're not as much of a park person. Have you heard of Club 33 prior to this?
I have. I've seen those Instagram reels where they talking about how like it's an exclusive club and you have to pay like $25,000 or something, and it's very for rich people only. Yeah, I've seen those videos. But that's about it. But I'm down for that. If it's like a bit like Clue, I like that movie. So
it's like it's Disney's version of the Illuminati, right?
Yeah.
I will definitely say on the subject, but off the subject, for anyone who has not seen the 1984, 85 film of Clue, it definitely became like a cult classic in its own right. It's kind of cheesy and corny in some moments, but it's definitely a fun comedy murder mystery movie. Definitely check it out.
Okay. Absolutely.
I'm more curious though on the movie Tower of Terror though, that Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be in.
Yes.
That's right. I forgot about that.
What happened with
another Disney attraction movie? From what I read is that she sued Disney because of that movie on Disney Plus that came out for her, and they settled. And then after when Bob Iger came back, they said they're good. They're all good now, and they're working on the movie. And that's about it.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember that. It was Black Widow, the Marvel movie that they put on Disney Plus, and she got her. That was a huge thing between her and Bob Chapek. huge thing at that time. I mean, Bob Chapek was like the bad guy of the year when that whole thing came out. Go ahead, George.
No, I was just going to say, I wonder if that was kind of Iger's way of kind of easing it a little bit, like saying, "Oh, all's well is good. Yeah, we're working on and everything." And if they just kind of said, "You know what, just in case, I don't know if we want to go down that route, you know, of having like another issue with this," and they just kind of like let it just fizzle out, unless really during like for the writing of the script and everything, maybe things just didn't pan out. Yeah.
Possible. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Seymour. I did too.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. All right, last story of the day. It's a studio story / theme park story because we got our beautiful daddy Josh here in his little zip up sweater. We got Disney Experience Chairman Josh D'Amaro spoke at the 2024 Licensing Expo in Las Vegas this week. He was joined by Kevin Feige, Jennifer Lee, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Io Davis, and others. So we see Dave Filoni in the hat. We see Jon Favreau. Both of those are Star Wars guys. We got Jen Lee. She's Disney Animation. Kevin Feige is obviously Marvel. So Josh is here with a lot of studio people, right? Now, we all know it's no secret. Josh is on the short list for a CEO spot. You know, he's on that short list. I'll start with you, Seymour. What do you think this means anything in terms of that CEO short list? Is this Bob Iger putting him out there trying to get kind of rub elbows with Hollywood executives, or is just basically just, hey, the theme parks borrow a lot from the studios, so that's why he's standing with them?
I felt when I first saw it that I was like, oh, this is a tease. They wanted to see the reaction of how he looks like with all the studio execs. And I'm all for it. If he's co-CEO, I'm all for it. Okay. Yeah, and if he's willing to work with all the studios in order to get attractions for the parks, that's good. You know me, I'm not a parks type of person. I don't go to the parks all the time. Last time I've been to Disney parks was 10 and 12 years ago. Yeah, it's been a while. I think I'm going to go to the one in Tokyo when I go to Japan, but I'm gonna go all out in Japan if I go to Japan. So yeah, but yeah, if I see this as like one of those press things where you show it to the audience and see what they react to, and it looks positive to me. And if they're willing, if he can work with all the studio execs, and get something out of it, and if he can do that, then he would be a good co-CEO. I don't think he would be a good CEO. I think he would be a good co-CEO.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you.
I think than him, I think who would be a better CEO over him would be C-3PO.
But Seymour, you're right though. I think that like if you paired him up with like Dana Walden, maybe, right? And it was a co-CEO thing, or he was president and she was CEO or something like that. Okay, because I've been critical of Josh with a lot of this park stuff, but I mean, if it was a dynamic where it was like he wasn't the guy in charge, I would be more open to it. I will say this too: Chapek got a lot of shit for being a parks person, but I think that the bigger problem for Chapek, more than being a parks person, was that he didn't have the Hollywood kind of smooze gene in him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know how to like smooze like this. Josh, yes, he's a parks guy, but he's a smoozer. Like he can get in there and do you can have the brunch with Meryl Streep and all that stuff. He'd fit right in. So I think with that, I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's already ahead of the curve than Chapek was in that regard. I'm just critical of a lot of his park stuff. He's implemented a lot of weird stuff with like these expos, like George, we talk about all the time, where he doesn't really announce something. It's kind of like this, like we can maybe do this. What do you think about it? You know, these brainstorming sessions on the D23 Expo stage. He hasn't really pulled the trigger on a lot of big projects since he's been kind of running the parks. So I have a lot of concerns with him, but like I would agree with Seymour. If you put him in a position that he's not fully the guy and he's like a co-CEO or even like the number 2, like a president or something, okay, yeah. I'm open to that. Absolutely.
I will agree to that after I see the outcome in August.
Okay.
Because for me, I want to see what he can deliver finally as the chairman of parks and experiences, or just experiences, whatever they call it nowadays. Yeah. You know, it keeps on changing, because that will solidify that, okay, if he does deliver as chairman of experiences, then he could potentially work side by side with a business / like financial kind of person, because then he would be titled as the creative side of the CEO banner. And that's what worked well with Walton Roy, with Eisner and Wells. But I would have to see how his delivery is in August. If he can't deliver in August, then I'm sorry, I don't see him even running even for co-CEO.
Well, the thing is that, okay, here, yeah, you're right. Because here's the thing. Bob Iger already knows what they're going to announce at the Expo. So it's not going to be a surprise to Bob Iger. But what will be a surprise to Bob Iger, and what might make or break Josh's chances, is if Josh gets up there and the audience and the fans are underwhelmed. And there's a lot of buzz online, negative buzz online, about how he missed the mark again. I think then, because optically, publicly, he's being trashed again. And I think that then, yeah, you're probably right, George. I think that would be the end of his chance. He can. That's the thing, too. Josh cannot afford to misstep on this Expo. He has to have everybody like super excited, because the last two, he didn't deliver.
And this one is going to have about another 4,000 to 5,000 people in the room. So, I mean, now the pressure is really going to be on. And to answer your first question, OG, I feel like what that photo kind of solidifies, in a sense, is a little bit of both. I feel like while he's meeting the top brass of the studios to work on the intellectual properties going into the parks moving forward in the future, with Disneyland Forward, Beyond Big Thunder, and everything, the cruise ships. I feel like also while he's doing that, he's also getting adjusted and kind of intertwining, like Iger kind of introducing all of that, even though they know each other, but I mean, like fully like introducing to say, okay, well, these could be potentially who you would be working with if the board decides for you to become CEO.
Well, yeah, and their feedback, I'm sure he's going to pull Feige in and say, hey, so Feige, what do you think about Josh? How was the energy? How was the vibe? Could you talk to him? This, that, and the other. They're getting feedback from all these studio heads. Could you work with Josh? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, pressure's on. What do you think, Tones? So I know you're also not really like a huge park guy, but Josh D'Amaro runs Disney Experiences, which is basically the parks and resorts and the cruises. He's up there on stage at this Las Vegas Expo with all the studio heads, Feige, Filoni, all the big wigs for the studio side. It's rumored, well, not even rumored, it's known that Josh D'Amaro is on the short list to replace Bob Iger. Do you think this is a move, like to get him kind of acquainted with these studio execs, or is it kind of just, hey, the parks build rides based on these franchises and that's why he's up there?
I mean, it could be both, honestly. Like, he's trying to find a way in, get on people's good graces, and kind of get to know people he probably doesn't have the chance to even talk to, especially Kevin Feige. I mean, if anyone can possibly talk to this guy, like, this dude's so busy, it's crazy. But it could be a possibility that he's trying to find his way on, because I'm assuming, chairmans and the council have to vote on this guy to replace him. So that could be. But I have a kind of question that what was the expo he did the speech at, and what was the speech he did at the expo? Did they say?
Oh, you mean like as far as like the
in terms of this Las Vegas thing?
Yes.
Let me pull this up. It doesn't say, actually. It just says that he
I thought it was the licensed expo.
Yeah, it was a licensing expo in Las Vegas this week.
And now was this speech that he gave, like, or it says he spoke, right? Like, did he speak to like a group of people? Did he announce something? Like, what
did they disclose anything that he said in his
statement? I couldn't find anything else besides this on this. So he probably spoke a lot about like legacy Disney stuff and whatever, pretend like the IP and all that, I'm sure, because it was licensing.
What combination hair gel he uses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Moisturizer, all that. No, but yeah, I think I couldn't find any other quotes or anything from that expo. But it was a licensing expo. Seymour's right. So interesting, though. Interesting. And I think that they kind of, the board and Bob Iger know that the big mistake they made with Chapek is that he was not a He didn't have that Hollywood thing in him. And look, if you're running Disney, and I've said it so many times, and my park people get so mad at me for saying this, Disney is a studio first. They're a studio that happens to own theme parks and cruise lines and stuff like that. It will always be a studio first. You know, the studio is like the heartbeat. It pumps everything. You know, the studio makes the IP, and then the theme parks borrow the IP from the studio. You know what I'm saying? So it's a studio first. So if you fail on the studio end of it, like Chapek did, or he wasn't Hollywood enough, and Hollywood hates you, then you're dead in the water because it's a studio. You know what I'm saying? Disney is not, you know, Cedar Fair. Okay, it's not an amusement park company. They own theme parks, and they're huge with it. Absolutely. But it's a studio first. And if you don't have Hollywood on your side, you're dead in the water. And that's what happened to Chapek. That's what ultimately did him in, because even his own people in the studio were trying to get rid of him. There's like a huge mutiny.
Well, I mean, even in the very beginning, when Iger came back on board after Chapek got let go, he kind of got on Hollywood's bad side from his comments with what was it? It was
strike.
The strike.
They were being unrealistic or something like that, and that was a faux pas. That was a bad call on Bob Iger's part. And Iger has made a few mistakes since he's come back. He's not the same Iger. Like, he's improving right now. I will say it's gotten better, but when he came back, those initial like 6 months or so,
it was kind of rocky.
Yeah, he was making mistakes, and it wasn't the same thing. So it's interesting, but we'll keep an eye on this because you never know. Daddy Jot, he might be the new CEO if he plays his cards right. If Feige likes him.
Are you guys interested in him being the CEO?
I agree with Seymour. I wouldn't want him being the main guy and that's it. If he's a co-CEO or if he's like number 2 or something with someone else.
Now, if you guys had to,
I would be the same way. I would rather him be co-CEO, but again, I'm even holding out on that until August for D23.
Yeah.
If you guys had to pick, who would be the main CEO
right now? Yeah, right now, I think Dana Walden, out of the choices we have, Dana Walden. She runs Disney Entertainment. And I think, because again, it's a studio first. You got to know your studio stuff to run this company.
So, one more question for you guys.
Sure.
Do you see them ever hiring out of Disney to become a CEO? Or hiring someone that's not involved currently?
I kind of wish that they would look beyond the boundaries of just who's already internally in the company, because they did it with Eisner and Wells. And Eisner came from Paramount, Wells came from Warner Brothers, and they worked together. I mean, they were the CEO duo since all the way back from the OGs themselves, Walt and Roy. And it's.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, legally they have to look outside too, if I'm not mistaken. They can't just keep it internal. I think they have to at least pay some lip service to looking outside the company. Right.
Mm-hmm. I wish they would take it a little bit more serious though, like to actually, because I feel like that they're looking, but they're not necessarily like having that mindset to say, well, okay, we'll do it because, as you said, OG, that because we have to, but we kind of already have who we're considering. I feel like that they're not like looking beyond the pond and looking into the ocean, sort of.
And that's a great segue to go to Seymour, beyond the pond. Seymour, what do you think, brother?
I was thinking, if I had a choice, Tom Staggs and Kevin Meyer. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yes, please.
I don't know. You had the former chairperson of Walt Disney Parks and Resort, and then the former Walt Disney Direct to Consumer and International. Like, that's the best. You have the parks and you have the media side. So put them together. There you go.
That's the A team right there.
Well, it is, and that's the thing too. I was really surprised when they overlooked Kevin Meyer originally and went for Chapek, because Kevin Meyer was integral, vital to all those acquisitions that really solidified Bob Iger's legacy. I mean, the acquisitions were his legacy. Well, and it was Kevin Meyer who was there with all of those, and they went with Chapek. It made no sense.
Well, I'm gonna go with my bestie Kaylee always says. If it makes sense and it would make it easy, then Disney won't do it.
There you go. Yeah. No, I hope Seymour, from your beak to God's ears. I hope it is Tom Staggs and Kevin Meyer, because
they would have to buy Candle Media though.
Right.
That's the only part.
So if they make a move for Candle, then we know who it is.
Oh, gee, I can't believe you missed it. I left it wide open for you, bro, and you didn't catch it.
What did you say?
I said that if it makes sense and it's easy.
Oh, it's easy. There you go. Easy. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I do appreciate you as always. Always a good time talking shop with you, gentlemen. I will start with you, George the Italiano. If you can remind everyone where they can find you on social media and where they can find your former beard on social media.
No, right?
You can find me and my former beard on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also check me out on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. And right below the Italiano, we got Tonez, Poppy, Tonez. Now we are going to go by the time this video is released, we would have already gone live with Tonez. So we're going to go live in a little bit tonight with Tonez and who else we got? We got Girly Nerd and Candid Camper. And George. We're going to go live. We're going to do our top 5 Pixar movies. We did this last week. We did our top 5 Disney animated movies. It was a great show. So I will be linking the Pixar top 5 live show after this video. So check it out. Click on it. Watch it. It's going to be a fantastic time. So by the time this video releases, that one will be up. But Tonez, looking forward to it. And brother, if you could just remind everybody where they can find you on social media and where they can subscribe to you on YouTube and stuff.
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you guys for inviting me. I love talking movies and stuff like that. And I love honestly, like one thing that goes over my people's head is I love getting educated. And as much as you guys brought me into the Disney space and educate me every time I'm on the show, that's like one of the biggest reasons why. Of course, I love seeing George and OG and Seymour, but besides that, the education that I get about Disney makes me want and to learn more about it. So love coming on here. But yeah, if you guys want to find me on social media, Tonez_TV on all platforms, and then follow the podcast that Candid and I do, Bad Thoughts Podcast, and my YouTube, Bad Thoughts Studio, where we do movies, TV, all kinds of top 10, top 5 stuff, trailer reactions, stuff like that. So Bad Thoughts Studios on YouTube.
There we go. And I will be linking all this down below. And Seymour Duck, it is good to have you back. Now, you were a little under the weather this past week or so, huh?
Yeah, I had COVID.
How you feeling now, though? A little better? You sound good.
Yeah, so much better. I feel like I came out of a spa and all refreshed and everything.
Nice. Good. Was this if you don't mind me asking, was this your first time having it, or?
No, this is my 3rd time. I live in a condo building, and I get it a lot. It's not as bad, though. The first time I got it, it was really bad. The second time, it felt similar, but now the 3rd time, it wasn't that bad. It felt like a regular fever, but then I took a test. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh man, yeah, I've had it twice. It sucks, but it's like you said, you get a few days or a week, and you're pretty much.
Yeah, I live in a busy city in Quebec, and then I live in a condo, so I'm not surprised that I got it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're all glad that you're back, brother. It's good to have you back on deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you could just remind everybody where they could find you on social media.
Yeah, and thank you for letting me nerd out on Disney today. Thank you. Yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck.
There he is. Comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we discussed today. Club 33, the movie, the MCU, just everything. Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2, the box office. We would love to hear from you. Thank you all so much for watching. And don't forget, stay tuned after this video. Click on that. I have the cards at the very end. Click on it, top 5 Pixar. You'll see it there. Check it out. Great show. Everybody, have a good one. Take it easy.
세상이 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.